Hello and welcome to the Spirit Safe. My name's Rob. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. What do we have this time? It's another Scotch single malt, somewhat unusual. We have had something from this distillery on the channel before, but it was an independent bottling, and this is a distillery bottling. It is the Rare Old from Mortlach. Very nice container, carton here in a kind of Art Deco style. Very nice copper kind of colour, which will match the stills, I'm sure. And here is the bottle it comes in, which is like one of the giant aftershave bottles in duty free. I'm having to show you all with one hand because I've got a bad arm. I poured myself a glass a second ago. So Mortlach, it's a Speyside distillery owned by Diageo, but it's quite a traditional distillery. They still have the worm tub condensers, and they've got an unusual distilling process, which they call 2.81 times distilled, because they have a third much smaller still, and some of what comes off the second spirit still goes into the first spirit still goes into the second, but not all of it. Some of it goes straight into the spirit receiver. I don't really understand the process, but it delivers a fairly robust spirit. It's a spirit-led experience from a cask-led experience, the whiskies that they produce. And, you know, they find favour with single malt enthusiasts. So we had the 15-year-old from Gordon MacPhail a year ago, probably more than a year ago, and that I really enjoyed. So let's see what the distillery edition is like. It's no age statement, and it's fairly easily available. So I always thought it was a bit cheeky of Diageo to call it Rare Old when it's not all that rare, and you're not willing to tell us how old it actually is. But you know, this is the game that they're in nowadays. They're trying to call this a super premium single malt, and they're not willing to give it an age statement. This is a 750cl bottle. In the UK, you'll find 50cl bottles, which again I think is a bit cheeky. The price I paid was about 100 Canadian plus taxes in BC. Probably a bit lower elsewhere in North America. But I actually don't think we get a terrible deal for this in Canada compared to the rest of the world for once. So that's the reason that I went for this distillery bottling. Okay, on the nose is a slight wine note. But it's very malty and very fruity, so I get apricots and Bramley apples, cooking apples. There's oranges, waxy oranges. There's a waxy note to this. Kind of a peach stone, nectarine stone note. So it's fruity, but also woody and a bit unusual. There is a perfume note. At the moment, it's not that pronounced, but it has been very pronounced. Definitely a sherry, a few dark fruit noses on this. Rum and raisin ice cream, so there's a bit of creaminess going on. Spicy cinnamon and coriander. And the worm tubs at Mortlach can result in a slight sulfur note in the spirit. I don't get a lot here, less than I did with the Gordon MacPhail 15-year-old, a little bit less. Kind of a hint of spent match or gunpowder, but not an awful lot. There's a part of that part of the perfume note is a bit like powdered laundry detergent as well. Not really selling this, but it is very, very nice and very, very interesting. Spirit-led experience. There are some kind of aromatic notes, some herbal teas. It's a bit like a blended tea that I've had called Sleepy Time Tea, which includes chamomile and lemongrass and peppermint. There's all those kind of aromatic notes to it, and quite a bit of honey as well on the nose. So yeah, it's all going on. Let's see what it tastes like, shall we? Malty and spicy. Fennel, sugared fennel, quite sweet. Hint of vanilla essence, honey, kind of baked goods, like the vanilla slice pastries, kind of baklava notes to it. Plenty of the sherry and spice going on the palate. Ginger, spices. It does have a tang, a slight tang of young whiskey, but it's not a particularly unpleasant tang of young whiskey. You just know that this isn't an 18-year-old single malt. They do sell an 18-year-old Mortlach, but it's extremely, frightfully expensive, so I probably won't be buying it. But this is pretty nice. Moving on to the finish, tea, kind of an underbrewed Assam, or maybe an Irish breakfast tea. A bit more of that peppermint chamomile note there as well. Lingering spice and warmth. Quite lip smacking as well, because it's a robust spirit, and it's got the spices, but it's also got the viscosity and the thickness and the sweetness as well. So it is quite mouthwatering. It is quite moreish. Creme brulee, the brittle top of a creme brulee, slightly over roasted hazelnuts, and then it's just a fairly long, spicy and malty finish. So it's nice. I don't sort of agree with everything that they've done with the no age statement, bottling it in small bottles in the UK and elsewhere in Europe, calling it rare old, trying to make it into a premium product all of a sudden. That's why I lean towards the independent bottlings of Mortlach. I think there are real gems out there in the independent bottlers. Would I buy this or the 18 again? I'm not sure. I don't think it's a bad buy, but really I like the spirit-led character of Mortlach, and I think the independent bottlings, there's more to explore there for me. So if you have access to the 15-year-old Gordon and MacPhail or other independent bottlings, I would probably look there first. Also consider the Craigellachie 13. That's sort of a similar style and probably quite a bit cheaper. But this isn't, particularly if you're in North America and you're picking up a 750 ml bottle, it's probably not a bad buy. So I'm certainly enjoying this, and I shall continue to do so. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in, and we shall see one another again soon, I hope. Cheers. Bye-bye.